Hello. What's going on, everybody? How are you? Thank you for joining me live here today. Wayne Jr. here with Wealth Transfer Academy, and I'm going to be discussing some things concerning money, smoke and mirrors. So thank you for joining me today. I haven't been live in quite some time for several reasons, but today is good. What's today's? Black Friday, right? So I almost said Good Friday. Black Friday. So if you guys are out there shopping or selling or whatever else, I wish you guys Godspeed. Happy day after Thanksgiving and all those other good things. So, yeah, I'm live today because I want to talk about some of the things that are on my mind moving forward now in this holiday season. So, this broadcast is brought to you by Wealth Transfer Secrets, Wealth Transfer Academy. You can go join our group. Just look us up on Facebook, Wealth Transfer Secrets. It's a free group. It's for everybody. It's open to the public. So go find us on Facebook at Wealth Transfer Secrets. And this is brought to you by the Wealth Transfer Academy. Myself and my brother are very passionate about helping people with some of this information concerning the wealth transfer. This is stuff that we are actually actively involved in implementing ourselves. And I'll tell you some stories about what's happening right now and give you some insights onto what's going on. So if you have any questions about credit, if you have any questions about money, and here's one of the things I want to start off with. There's a lot of people who will say because a person is not filthy, stinking rich, right, that they don't know what they're talking about. That's not always the case. Oftentimes we get information. It takes time for that information to actually set in. It takes time for you to take action on that information. And then it takes time for that information to mature and cure into the outcomes that you're looking to see. So there are a lot of things that we're doing right now that we have started the process on, and we're starting to see the outcomes happen. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. In fact, just something with my father, and I don't want to go into all of his business, and I won't go into all of his business, but we have some things that are working right now that I'm implementing, sharing with family members and friends. So I do have clients, I have friends that we're sharing this information with, and family members who are now getting the results. I'm implementing them myself after recuperating from things financially, and we're starting to see the results. So now's the time to get in because we're just getting started on this journey. We've been diving into this information for about 5 years. No, actually closer to 10. And so if you have any questions, again, put them in the chat. I'll be looking forward to seeing your comments and such in the chat. But I'm going to talk about this idea of smoke and mirrors, right? And money. The reason why the rich keep getting richer, right? The rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer because of the system that we have here in America. We have a broken, it is a broken financial system. It's based on a lot of terrible things. Some would call it white supremacy or the Western, the Western conquest. After the Enlightenment, this getting away from England and how slavery had a role, and you start to read people like Du Bois and different ones that have their insights and outlooks on the sociology of the world and some of these economics and things like that. And there's a lot of different schools of thought. There's a lot of different trains of thought. But I just want to tell you what is. Like, this is stuff that I've researched and found out because my own life. Like, guys, I want to tell you something. Hey, what's going on? I can't see who you are, but I would love to know your name. Somebody says, what's up? So we first found this stuff out about 10 years ago, right? Had graduated from college. No, not graduated. I'm lying. I didn't graduate from college. Graduated from high school, got into college, had all these debts and whatever else. And I had bad credit from in college. And so I wanted to kind of figure out how to get out of this credit situation. So we started studying credit repair way back then. After studying credit repair, it took us down a wormhole, right? And I said this wormhole was really ridiculous, just other worlds where there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, it's a lot of lies. And basically the system is built on smoke and mirrors, folks, all right? Smoke and mirrors. It's all about the illusion, right? So the name of the game is to keep you thinking that what I'm showing you is real. And I know there's a whole lot of people that are going to say this is conspiracy theory and so on and so forth, because a lot of what I studied actually was. And I found out that those things were false. They're just not true. And there are other things that are true. And we can prove those things by the law. We can prove those things by the IRS code. We can prove those things by the Internal Revenue Code, the United States Code, We can prove these things by the Uniform Commercial Code. So there's a lot of stuff, and if it looks like my computer's lagging a little bit here, so if I lose you guys, forgive me. I'll come back. I'm going to close out some of these other windows here really quick because I got a lot of stuff open on my computer that might be taken from my power here. So stick with me, guys, or they're messing with me, right? This is crazy because I can get on here and hey, God bless you, sir. Thank you. I can get on here and talk about anything else, and then they won't mess with the feed. But I do these things, and the feed seems to be delayed. If you can hear me well, if you can see me well, I would appreciate a one in the chat. So the name of the game is smoke and mirrors, right? If they can keep the masses uninformed or keep the masses informed on what they want us to be informed on, then we won't look for the other stuff. And that comes with the whole educational system is involved in this. The educational system is not designed to create producers. It's designed to create consumers. Okay, the educational system we have has shifted. It's changed. It's different. It's not designed to create producers. I want you to hear me very clearly. It's designed to create consumers, and these are people who are going to take more, who want more than they're actually giving and offering. And so that's the programming that is happening. We as a society, we have been programmed to want more than we're actually putting in. And so because the educational system has created that environment and has made that the way of Western society and Western culture, guess what? Then the masses follow that because that's the norm. That's the status quo. That's what they're telling us we should do. So we should go to job and we should go to school and start off with between $100,000 and $300,000 worth of debt. We should go to college and pay for that. And then by the time we finish school, the education that we got is almost obsolete, if not obsolete by the time we graduate. So it's a whole system. And then once you graduate, now you're trying to figure out how to get a job. They don't teach you how to do those things. They just teach you a certain amounts of information, and they teach us how to be good workers. And a good worker is a good consumer because you will always need a new car. You will always need in search of a home or something, you will always need gas. You will always need what society provides. Okay, I hope this is making sense just a little bit. All right, you're always going to need those things. So when you go get a job, even if you have a degree or whatever else, the degree just means that you might make a little bit more money than the person who doesn't. Yes, does that mean 10, 20, 30, sometimes $50,000 a year more in salary? Yes, it does. But you are still a consumer. You have not been programmed to produce more than you get out. The programming is for you to participate and maintain the status quo. And I'm going to get into the smoke and mirrors because this is where it starts. It starts with education. It starts with what we're learning about money. Because if you noticed throughout the years, economics used to be taught in school. They're no longer taught in school. Kids are coming out of school, don't know how to balance a checkbook. Many of them don't know what a checkbook is. They've never seen a check. So things are different. Things have shifted. Things have changed. The point of all of this is that if we understand what the smoke and the mirrors are, if we understand what the outcomes were intended to be, then we could subvert the system because I promise you, there is a way out. I promise you, there is another solution. There is an alternative. But we have to be willing to let go of the current and present reality that we have so that way we can accept or even look into the other one that's been created or that's available. And so what ends up happening is this. You have rich people who know the system. They know how this works. And they teach their children how this works. And they also teach their children not to share with other people. They don't share with other people. So it's very rare that you'll find someone who will share this information with you, and just usually because they are good-hearted, well-meaning, God-loving people who want to see other people succeed. They want to see the success of others. So they'll share this information, but they're few and far between. And by God's grace, I've been blessed enough to have met one or two of those people who are very, very well-to-do, people who have been accountants, have degrees in business and finance, people who are very, very wealthy monetarily, and they will tell you when you start asking certain questions, They'll ask you who told you that, and then they start, depending on if they like you or not, they're going to tell you, yes, you're right, or you're on the right track, keep digging. And so I got a lot of that in my years of making terrible financial mistakes, financial decisions and such that were just absolutely horrid. I found some people who are willing to do that. So I'm sharing that information with everybody here. So if people want to listen to it, great. If not, that's on them. They can't say that nobody told them or nobody warned them or that nobody gave them this information, because I'm going to make it available. But the reality is that everything that we have in our financial monetary system is based on smoke and mirrors. And we know that just by the first word, when you start researching money in America, the currency is called fiat or fake. It's not real. It has no intrinsic value of itself. It only has the value that we assign to it. And so the market determines how much the dollar is worth. It used to be backed by gold, where they had silverbacks and goldbacks and all those type of things, where the money was actually backed by tangible commodities or real money, not something of real intrinsic value, not just paper currency. Because even that, let's deal with the IRS real quick. Let's deal with the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve was created as a medium of exchange. The Federal Reserve is where the United States allowed to create currency for us. Technically, that's supposed to be that's Congress's job. Look at the Constitution, all these things. Congress is supposed to make money, but Congress decided to allow the Federal Reserve, which is a foreign entity, to create money for America. And what they do is they print these dollars, and those dollars are printed already at a debt. So every dollar that is made, say every dollar that they print, we automatically owe $1.25. If that's the case, then we don't have a monetary system. We have strictly a debt system. And because people don't understand that, don't know that, don't realize that we live completely in a debt system, they're trying to get out of debt instead of learning how to leverage the system and learn how to use debt the way it's been designed. So what happens is we go to college and we have this debt. We get medical procedures. Some people can't pay them, so we have debt. We buy homes, we buy cars, so we have debt. And instead of learning how to leverage said debt, instead of learning how to master the system as it was created, which I'm going to call you credit, because if you look at the credit system, it's based on credits and debits, which is adding and subtracting debt. That's all it is. It's subtracting debt and adding debt. So if you have debits, you're adding debts. Debits are taking away, credits are adding to, right? So if you have a debit, you're taking away from something, you're adding more debt. If you have a credit, you're adding something, so you're lessening or taking away from the debt. Make sense? You have those two that balance. So because the average person in America doesn't even have a concept of that, they look at money as if the more money I have, the more rich I am. That's not the case. In fact, the more money you have, the more in debt you actually are. That's the reality of the system. Period. This is why rich people know how to get richer and poor people don't, because poor people chase after money. And the more money you have, the more money you get, the more in debt you are. That's the system. Period. If you don't believe me, listen, you don't have to. Go look it up. And I'll give you some stuff that you can research. I have some stuff, but I just wanted to talk a little bit today. This is the first time I've been live for a little while, and I promise you it's not going to be long. But if you have debt, the key is to learn how to not manage debt or not get out of debt, is learn how to leverage that debt. So buying a home is a good thing. Having a car is a good thing. Having assets and things that you pay for are good. Those are debts that are good to have. But when you have something of value, like a home, you can leverage what we call credit based on your debt. So because you owe $300,000 on a house, right? And that house might be worth $400,000. There's $100,000 left in that house. It's called equity. That equity, that $100,000, is viewed as what we would call credit. It's a positive. You don't owe that money. but you have it basically in an account in your home. You can borrow. I say borrow. We don't like that word, but we need to. We need to learn how to borrow and buy debt or borrow and buy credits. Wealth is not built, it's purchased, period. I'm going to say it again. Wealth is not built, it is purchased. You don't build wealth, you buy it. And I'm telling you stuff that was told to me by people who are much smarter than I, who were born in very different situations and scenarios than I was, or who came through the ranks and realized these things in their own doings. So you buy your wealth. You don't build it. I promise you, nobody who got wealthy got it just by saving money. It doesn't happen that way. You can't make enough money to do that. Most people, what ends up happening is if they make a little bit of money, they learn how to invest that money to buy or to grow their wealth. You don't just save money, because the more money you have, guess what? The more debt you're in. So the object is to get rid of this money and put it into other things of real intrinsic value. That's how you become wealthy. That's the game. So what ends up happening is we look for jobs with big paychecks, right? And instead of taking those paychecks and trading them in for something of value that's going to increase in value and actually make us wealthy, we buy things that decrease in value and add to our debt. Like around this time, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, we have a whole lot of people who get themselves in more debt without actually learning how to leverage that debt properly. Again, I hope this is making sense and helping at least one or two people. So when we learn this and how the system works like this, you start to look at money a little bit differently. You start to look at debt differently. Debt is not a bad thing. And people get caught up because debt collectors are calling them and so on and so forth. But that's just because they don't know the law. They don't know how to handle these people. They don't know how to deal with these outcomes. And so they get, frustrated. Even when it comes to court and being sued and stuff like that, those are not the end of the world. And there's ways to protect yourself from those things happening. This is why the rich people can get sued and never lose anything. People don't pay attention to this stuff. And I was like, man, I started to ask myself and other people questions like, how are these people rich? They stay rich, but they constantly getting sued. And they're constantly, in lawsuits and whatever else and losing. They're losing lawsuits, constantly being sued, but they stay rich. How is that possible? They stay wealthy because they know the game. They know how the system works. And the way the system works is basically like this. The more debt you have, the more susceptible you are to being sued. So the more money you have, you can be sued. If you have no money, you can't be sued. Or even if someone sues you, there's no way to remedy that lawsuit because you have no money. Y'all not hearing me, and I wish somebody would, because I'm giving y'all some gold nuggets that I wish my parents knew this, but now I'm able to share this stuff with my parents. So if you have no money, when someone comes to sue you, there's no remedy because you have no money. But if all you have is money, you have money in your banks, and you have money in your investment portfolios and all these kind of things, people can come and seize your assets. But what rich people do is they get rid of those assets to a point where they no longer have them. They put that money into other things. So if they come and get sued, guess what? There's nothing to take because they have no money. It's been dispersed. It's been given away. It's in other things that people don't have access to, that the IRS doesn't have access to, that the courts don't have access to. I'm telling you, this stuff is for real. So that's what I wanted to start off with, and just sharing this information because here at the Wealth Transfer Academy, our goal is to help facilitate the wealth transfer. And I'm going to talk specifically to a lot of my melanated brothers and sisters because we are underinformed, we are misinformed, and we have this concept that the government owes us. A lot of people I speak to have a concept that we need to get this paid back. We need retribution and things like that. But I promise you, you'll do so much better off leaving the government alone, because the government works as quid pro quo, right? It's quid pro quo. I do something for you, you do something for me. It's tit for tat. So if I'm going to give you this stuff, you're going to owe me something. And that's what's been happening to our community for ages, is that the more stuff that we get or that we're given, the more is required of us, the more is expected of us. And so when you can get out of that mindset that you need someone else to do something for you versus finding the information, learning the game and playing it well, learning how to play it well, I promise you at this level, there is no hindrances. Because when I'm dealing with these things, and now we're in the place where we're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars on a regular basis. These are numbers that are coming out of our mouths. I'm not talking about 30, 40, 50, or even 100K. I'm talking about 100 plus, where we're talking about 500,000 in a matter of months. We're talking about $1 million in a matter of months to a year, or less. Getting to the place where you're generating $1 million a month in certain businesses and places. Like, this stuff is real deal. And there's a lot of people who they can't even fathom at this level, or they can't even function at this level because they can't get outside of this. I'm owed something. Somebody did me wrong. You owe me. The only thing that we are owed, I would say, is this information. And so now there are some who are giving it away, who are telling people. So I'm telling people, we have to change the way we see money, change the way we see ourselves, change the way we see our government, and all of this stuff. Get outside of the mindset that I want somebody to do something for me and that somebody owes me something, and get into the mindset that I'm going to take what's mine. I'm going to take what's mine. Because of the 14th Amendment, even African Americans have been made, quote unquote, citizens of the United States. That's a whole nother conversation we'll get into. But because of that, you have access to this credit. Because of that, you have access to the system that the rich exploit on a daily basis because they know how to do it. And the people who learn how to do it, they come into this game, and guess what? They have no issues and problems. None. Why? Because they start operating at a certain level where racism is of no effect, because you've gotten to the point where you're above these games. This racism is a social construct. Classism is a social construct. All of these things are socially constructed to keep certain people in a bracket and allow others who either learn how to play it well or break free of it to go to another level. So we have to learn what that other level is first, and then get out of that bracket that we've locked ourselves into. And I'm very passionate about this stuff, because I hate to see any people suffer because they just don't have the knowledge. And again, that knowledge didn't come free to me. I made the decision. Again, it's about investing. It's about putting your money where your mouth is. It's about taking that money that you have, that you get, and put it in places that are going to bring you a return, not just make you be in more debt. So I've invested in people. I've invested in spending time with wealthy individuals. I've invested in learning from people who knew what I didn't know, period. So now we're at the point where my whole family is involved in this scenario. We're looking at properties. We're looking at like access to hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit. We're looking at learning how to protect all of these assets that we acquire, and keeping them away from the IRS, so that way we keep all of our money, all of it. People talk about Donald Trump paying $700 in taxes. That's less than other people. Why do you think that even happened? Because he knows. He even talked about it, and people made fun of him. He talks about he prepays his taxes. We don't even understand how this thing operates. We don't have a clue of how this thing operates, because every single dollar that you bring in is not necessarily taxable. The only thing that's taxable is what's called income and what's called profit. Those are the two taxable things. If you make a profit, like when you sell your house, if you don't buy another property, it's called capital gains tax. Why? Because you made a lot of money. at one time. So if you have $240,000, $300,000 of equity in a house, and you sell that and you made $300,000, the government wants 45% of that, unless you go and buy another house. It's a system. So go and buy another house. Go and buy 2 houses, 3 houses, whatever. As long as you invest that money, a certain percentage of it, into more real estate, guess what? They don't charge you the tax. So there's ways, I'm telling you stuff, people think it's like, oh, well, no. There's ways that you can operate that make you invisible to the IRS and the tax man because you're following the system that's set up. So certain monies they don't come after. That's just how the system works. I ain't got no comments on here. I don't know who's watching it, but listen, I know it's going to be strange to a whole lot of people. This is going to sound weird. It's going to sound like conspiracy theory. But I promise you, that's why people stay poor, because they can't believe that this system is actually set up this way. They refuse to believe that there is an easy way out. And I say easy because it's really not difficult. It's a matter of applying yourself, learning the rules of the system, and then operating inside the system. That's it. That's it. Come talk to us another 6 months, and it's going to be a whole nother ball game. Because not only are my parents, I'm starting off with my parents. I bypassed myself. I told my dad, let's do this for you. Setting him up, getting things together. What else? Come talk to us 6 months from now. Come talk to me 6 months from now. There's going to be properties everywhere. There's going to be investments, all kinds of investments. Personal private banking, where I can borrow from myself at no fee, 0% interest, and still earning interest on an account. This stuff is real. This stuff is real. You just got to be willing to take the first steps. You have to be willing to take the first step and say, you know what? I'm going to learn this system. I'm going to learn the game. No matter how crazy it sounds, no matter how strange it may be, no matter how different it may sound from what I was taught or told, even in school, because they don't teach this stuff in just generic banking and financing and accounting. In fact, if you become a certified public accountant, you can't teach this stuff because you will lose your license. The object of the lawyers too, they can't talk about this stuff because they'll lose their bar status. Their goal, their job as lawyers, as certified accountants, is to protect the status quo. That's their job. And I know this because I've spoken to lawyers. I have family members who are lawyers, and we asked about some of the stuff, and they were like, I can't get into that stuff. I'll lose my bar license. Accountants says I can't get into that stuff. I'll lose my certified public accountant. They don't understand that they don't need it. But all they're doing with the Bar Association and the certified public accountant, that certification, they are just protecting the status quo. Some lawyers, depending on how much you pay them, they'll operate a little on the other side. This is how these rich people stay rich. Or even, like I said, there's layers to this thing. There's levels to this system. So you get into credit, you get into learning about assets, you're learning about trusts, how to protect your money. You get into insurance, how to become your own bank and borrow from yourself instead of having to go to a bank and borrow money where they approve or deny you. You don't need to do that when you have the right accounts and things set up. So you talk to some of these wealthy people and they have multiple insurance accounts, multiples. Yes, they're spending money every month in insurance. Why? Number one, remember, the more money they have is more debt. So they're paying money into these accounts. So that way they don't hold on to this money. So what happens to that money in that account? It accrues interest. Well, guess what? You can borrow from that account at 0% interest and no tax. So they're keeping their money. You can do the same thing with trust accounts and so on and so forth. You can create a trust, put money into it, and it's tax free. It's tax exempt. And it's building and growing interest. This is stuff that I learned this. I'm implementing it myself. My brother went and set up his trust. I have a couple of clients I work with, told them go set up a trust. This is what we're going to do next steps, all sort of kind of stuff. So that way all of your money can be protected. It can be safe. You can be tax exempt. You don't have to pay taxes on money that comes into your household because all money is not income. All money is not profit. That's just real talk, guys. Real talk. So I've been on here for a half an hour. I'm probably going to make these a little bit shorter. I don't want to be on here for a whole hour. I ain't got nobody commenting, asking any questions. So I'm assuming that nobody has any questions or has any comments. If you do, please put them in the chat. I would love to answer your questions. I'd love to respond to your comments. He said, okay, my brother, talk to me. Time to pay. Listen, I'm talking to people. Like I said, what I'm learning right now is far better than any reparations, bro. Kyle, I'm telling you, this is better than any reparations. Go upstairs, Benny. Go upstairs. Thank you. Benny's down here. It's far better than it. I'm telling you that you can get money just because you live in the United States, that you were born here. There's money available to you. And not only that, but there are protections available to you for that money. And the money that you have, there are systems that are set up in place that you can get rid of that money so you don't have any debt. So it's getting out of debt by buying more. Like it's a weird system. It seems backwards, but it's real talk. Like owning properties. The more properties you own, the less debt. What do they call it? The less tax liability you have. The more money you have out, the less your tax liability is. So if you have no money, which people think is a bad thing, it's actually the best thing in the world to have no money. Because when you have no money, nobody can demand it from you. It's just common sense. Yeah, yo, Doc, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. 2020 was crazy. And Kyle, appreciate the comments. 2020 was absolutely crazy. And I think that people as a whole, of course, as a whole, I love all people. I don't discriminate. I do see color. I see white people as white people. I see Asians as Asians. I see Australians as Australians. And I'm okay with that. Diversity is okay. We are different and we should celebrate the differences. However, yes, I've seen melanated people, African Americans, those of Caribbean descent and African diaspora, all of that. We've been dealt a terrible deal, but there is a remedy for it. There's a way out of it. And there is no hindrance. The only hindrance is us. Nobody can stop anybody from doing what I'm telling you. Like, it's not possible for them to stop you from accessing this stuff. I promise you, because we're doing it with absolutely no resistance. And yes, like people talk about the banks. See, when you go to the bank, yes, as a black person, you will get a higher interest rate trying to borrow money from a bank. It happens because that's the system. Remember, there's a bracket, status quo. They don't want you to get outside of here. But if you learn how to get outside of here, guess what? They don't mess with you because you learned how to get outside of the box. They don't mess with you at that point. Promise you. When you start operating these levels, there's people I've spoken to, there's doors that open up that you're like, oh my goodness, how is this possible? And you're thinking, oh, oppression and we've been this and that. No, everybody is oppressed in America. If you're not operating like this is the oppression. It's not knowing the system that we live in, not being taught how money actually works and does not work. So everybody is educated to go to school and get more money to get a degree. That degree is nothing but guaranteeing you more money, more debt, period. So you got to get rid of debt. Got to get rid of it. That's why the dollar bills, they're called Federal Reserve notes. It's not money. It's just a note. It's a promissory note. Every dollar is a promise to pay $1.25. Guarantee you. I can show you that in law. And next couple of times, I'm going to pull up some stuff. But every dollar you have is a promise to pay more than what you actually have. So if you got $100,000 in your bank, in fact, or in your pocket, so to speak, you have a promise to pay $125,000 because every single dollar has debt automatically attached to it. It's not worth $1. It's worth 75 cents essentially in that, if you look at it like that. Because every dollar that you borrow, you got to pay back $1.25. That's just simple math. So I'm here to educate. I'm here to share this stuff. And I'll be breaking this down a little bit over the next couple of days. But we are going to be doing a workshop soon. Me and my brother are going to be breaking this down. And I'm thinking about helping people do credit repair like dirt cheap. We were charging a nice amount of money for it. And I know some of my past clients are going to be like, oh, it's not fair. We got something for y'all too. But yeah, we're going to work this thing out. It's a question. Do you advocate going to college and having a degree while still utilizing the system to our advantage? Yes and no. Yes and no. Here's why. There are certain professions that you need a degree to do. If you want to become a doctor, you need a degree. Even if you want to become a holistic doctor, you don't want to deal with medicine or the medical field, you need a degree. You need to have a PhD of some sort. If you want to be a therapist, you need a degree. If you want to, be in like what we call corporate America, and sometimes a lot of these jobs require degrees. So if you want to do those jobs, yes. If you don't want to do those jobs, you don't have to. Like, as simple as that. There are options. Find out what you love to do and provide that as a service. Real talk. I'm an advocate for entrepreneurship. I told my kids college is an option. Me, my parents, you got to go to school. We didn't get to go to school and because they sold the dream of education. Well, there's different types of education. In fact, even Albert Einstein said his education started when he left school. That's when he really started to learn. So I'm going to be teaching my children this stuff so that they can operate in the system and they won't need to get a degree. I want to be able to, when my kids are 18, hand them a business and say, here are your options. You can work in this business for 5 years and then sell it. You could not work in the business, just own it, hire other people to run it for you, or whatever, like give them options. Teach them how to work the system. Here are your options. If you own a business, here's what you can do. If you're generating this much, like most people don't know, if you start a business, go get contracts. Say you have a business where you do construction work and you have contracts worth $200,000. $300,000 for the next 3 or 6 months. A bank will lend you money based on the contract. You don't even have to have money. You can borrow. Remember, borrow, buying wealth. You can borrow more money to give away. Nobody don't hear what I'm saying. You can borrow more money because you have a contract, debt. A contract just means somebody's going to pay you. And you have a guarantee to get paid this much money. A bank will loan you money against your contracts. That's how the business world works. But folks are so caught up in, I want to just go get a job, have a good job, work 9 to 5 and go home. Listen to me. If that's what you want to do that. If you don't want to do that, then you need to get yourself together. Focus on getting your credit straight. So that way, if your credit is right, you can borrow money to get your business started. Because now all you got to do is go get some contracts and people will give you more money to help facilitate those contracts. As you get that money in, you can make things happen in your business and your personal life if you do the right things, if you have it set up the right way. So, no, I mean, I advocate, go to college. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to do certain things that are required to have a degree, then go do that. But you can go, like, technically a lawyer, I don't want to get into that right now. That's on a little bit on the other side of things. But point of the matter is, there is a system out there. There's a system that is available to us that there's no hindrances. Nobody is stopping me. Nobody's coming to my house telling me I can't look this stuff up. Now, don't get me wrong, it's more and more difficult to find as you search things because they don't want people knowing this stuff. But I got documents for days. I got stuff for days. Yep. 100%. Say you started a podcast, right? And you have 10 people that want to advertise on your podcast. And those 10 people are going to pay you, say, $10,000 a year or whatever else. You got $100,000 a year in contracts. You can borrow money against that contract to promote your podcast and to build your studio. Remember, you got to get that money and spend it because those are all tax deductions. Those are all, they relieve you of tax liability, but you have more stuff. You can get more things done. And then when you can take the leftover money and you put it in something like an insurance, like a trust, or things like that, guess what? That money disappears. It's still there, but it disappears. The IRS doesn't see it. The banks don't see it. Like the people coming to sue you don't see it. They can't see it. It's invisible. So, yes, that's the way to do that. But yeah, get contracts, man. If you start a podcast, get people to promise to advertise with you, even if it's not $100,000 a year. If it's $10,000 a year, you can borrow up to about 70% of that. So you can probably get an additional $7,000 just because you have a contract saying that you're going to earn $10,000 this year. That's how the system, it works. It works, and we know it works because we're doing it. And we're starting off on a small level, but we got people working with right now that got approved for $100,000 in money. And we're going to turn that $100,000 into $500 real quick. Real quick. Because we know how to. I mean, even people deal with personal credit and business credit. You can actually build credit in your business where it has nothing to do with you personally. It's just a business. So even if the business goes belly up, it is what it is. If people talk about Trump and his bankruptcies, he's brilliant. He knows how to move money around. That's what bankruptcy is. It's moving money around. It's moving assets. That's all bankruptcy is. So when people say, oh, look at Trump, he's brilliant. He's a brilliant businessman. And I know people don't like to hear stuff like that. They don't like Trump. I don't care. He is a brilliant businessman. As crazy as y'all think he is, and as crazy as he might be, the stuff he says and does is nuts. But he's a brilliant businessman. And can't nobody take that away from him. Y'all don't have to like him, but he's brilliant. He knows how to move stuff around. Y'all don't. People mad, but it is what it is. And it's not only him. All of these big major players know this stuff. They know how the game works. It's us normal people, the peons, as we call ourselves even, the deplorables or whoever. Learn the system. Learn the system. Learn the game. Play it. Because there's nobody stopping you but you. I found out that there was nobody stopping me but me. To the point where I got my first $20,000 credit card, and I was like, my nose was wide open. Wide open when I found out I could buy credit and I could get, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. He said, I like where this is going. Talking and helping is what I do. Man, I can't wait. I should have known this before I lost my mom. Bro, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I could have helped you save her house. I've helped multiple people save their homes from foreclosure, from all kind of stuff. I'm telling you, I learned the game. Repairing credit is like scratching the surface, man. Just people think, oh, I need to get this off my credit. I need to get this off my credit score. I need to get this. That's just scratching the surface. Only scratching the surface. There's so much more to this thing than just having a good credit score. Because even with a bad credit score, you can buy a good credit score. I've done it. I've done it myself. Went from 5-something to 7-something in a matter of 2 weeks. Go get a $20,000 credit card. And because I wasn't well-versed as I am now, I maxed that card out. Not knowing how to turn that 20 grand into another 30 or 40 or 50, I do now. Oh, I sure do now. So that'll never happen again. You know what I'm saying? And even then, I've basically gone through 2-year cycles where my credit is perfect. And I messed it up. And then 2 years later, it was perfect. And then I messed it up. It takes 2 years to get back to perfect. And then mess it up. I'm on cycle number 3 because I've been learning. I've been learning as I went, so I know what to do, what not to do. I've learned the ropes. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I've learned the ropes. My brothers, we've done this for other people. We've helped people get 700 scores. And even once you get your credit to be a certain number, it's a game changer. Get your credit to 720, it's a wrap. Anything is possible. Getting your hands on $100, $200, $300,000, easy. You just have to know the system. You got to know the game. So that's what I try to inform people on. It's like, look, if you got good credit and you're not wealthy, you're doing it wrong. What's the point in having good credit and you just sitting on the credit? Use it. Use it. That's what the wealthy do. They don't just have credit. They use it. And they know how to use it properly. They know how to use it well. So that way it makes more for them and they amass more assets and whatever else, and they know how to protect it and pass it on to their kids. It's time for us to learn this stuff. We can do that. And yes, life insurance is part of that. Some people say, well, all you need is this, all you need is that. No, I'm telling you, you need all of it. The system is massive. You need all of it. And I'm going to help folks master it. That's what my goal is to help people master this. But again, most of the time, like this weekend, Black Friday is going to be one of the most money spent weekends between Black Friday and Cyber Monday all year. This is the one weekend America spends so much money, but you can't get people to pay for education like this. I paid for this education. I paid for it with losing stuff like businesses, losing houses, losing friends and family. Like, I paid for this. Not only that, but found people who knew what they were doing and paid them to teach me. I paid them money to share information with me because I understood the value. That money means nothing. When you understand how little money actually is worth, and people will take it for valuable information, that's what I mean by you take that debt and you give it away and get something worth something in return. So when it came to learning how to fix my credit, guess what? I found people who knew how to do it and I had them teach me. When it comes to building credit, guess what? I had someone who taught me. Yes, some of this other stuff I did research, like the Uniform Commercial Code, the IRS code, or the IRC, the United States code. I studied some of that on my own just by following some of the rabbit holes. There's a lot of stuff in there, guys. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's a lot of stuff in there. So we get so caught up in spending money for the material. We want to feel good and not actually play the game and be part of the system and be players in the system. I think that right now, going into 2021, our community, all communities need to, this is how you flip the system. You want to talk about disrupting America and flipping upside down? Let too many people learn about this. The system will collapse on itself. It would collapse. It really would. It would collapse. If everybody knew how to work this, the system would actually, there's one of two ways. Either it would collapse or it would be euphoria because everybody's on the same, like operating at the same frequency and the same level. It would collapse in and of itself and implode because it couldn't sustain, or it would be euphoria because everybody learned and now everybody's on the same level playing field. And I believe that, honestly, I believe that that's what probably would happen more so. The reason why we are suffering is because we just don't know. As a people, as a society, as a country, just don't know. And I found these things out. I learned, I studied, I read books. This stuff is hidden in plain sight, folks. Plain sight. There are books out there that you can read that will teach you exactly what I'm sharing. There are other people who are, I'm not the only one teaching this stuff. I may have my spin on it or my particular bend, my point of view and outlook, but there are other people who are teaching this as well. I'm not alone. Like I said, I learned from people myself. I paid people to teach me. And so now I'm doing this for my family members. I'm telling everybody, yeah, here's how we do the trust. I got my friend, matter of fact, we got an appointment either today or tomorrow. He was a client for doing marketing I was like, bro, I'm gonna hook you up. He's like, yeah, I got some court cases. We got this. Not a problem. I'm gonna set you up. We're gonna get your trust set up. We're gonna get your money like this. Boom, 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 boom. Even if somebody gets sued, I'm telling you, there's a way to protect yourself, but they can't take anything. There's nothing for them to take. That's how the system works. And so this is how the rich keep getting richer, because they know how to protect their stuff so nobody can take it, but we don't. So they keep taking our stuff. That's how it happens. We don't know the system. We're not protected. They know that. So they keep taking up and buying up all of the stuff that we default on or that we lose or miss out on. They buy it right up. And then they protect it so that way nobody else can buy it. It gets passed on to their kids and their kids' kids and so on and so forth. We have to learn to do the same thing. We have to learn that this system is not a vacuum. Like it's not impossible to get into it. Like I said, there's no resistance, man. I'm 38 years old. People see me as a black man, but I'm a lot of native and all that kind of stuff too. But okay, a black man in America. The moment I started learning this stuff, the moment I stopped looking at myself as needing somebody to do something for me, I didn't need saving. I don't need somebody to come rescue me. I just needed the right information on where the path was to freedom. And now I know what that path is, and I'm on it. I'm trekking. I'm moving. There's nothing but smoke and dust behind me. And anybody that want to come along, I'm like, yo, let's go. I'm bringing as many people I can with me, but people don't want to play the game. They don't want to learn. They don't want to grow. They want to stay where they are. They want to feel whatever they're feeling. I feel like I'm oppressed. I feel like so-and-so is a whole nother level. And again, I'm not going to say that racism doesn't exist and that classism isn't a thing and that all of these other isms are not there. They are. But I can promise you that there is a level of operation that gets above that where it really, like I said, there's no resistance whatsoever. People don't care that you're black or white because you know who you are. You stand in this power and this strength that money doesn't rule me. I'm not trying to get paid more. I know how to make money. I literally can create value. I can create money by myself. I don't need a bank to do that for me. When you can operate at that level, there's a whole nother level of respect that comes. I'm just like real talk. There's a whole nother level of respect that comes. It's a whole nother level of operation that comes. People look at you different. When you start talking, they're like, oh, you know what he's talking about. When at certain tiers, man, I've been in some rooms and people after the conference or whatever, and I shared a little tidbit. Certain people are like, come here, let me talk to you for a minute. How did you know this stuff? Who told you this? Because everybody, this information is not shared with everybody. And I know some people say, oh, that's Gnostic and that's this and that. I'm just telling you how the world works. There are people out here who have information. They know where to find it. It's not impossible to get to. It's a challenge, but it's not impossible. It's out there for anybody and everybody. You just got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to invest in yourself, other people. Got to be willing to let go of what you think the status quo is, or what you think you deserve or are owed. And no, nobody owe you nothing. You don't deserve a thing. Get out of that mindset that I'm owed something. I deserve this. No, you don't. Make it. Create it. Stop with all this. I'm powerful and I'm beautiful and I'm this and I'm that. And I can. No, make it. Build it. Create it. Grow it. Learn how it works. Plant the seeds, water them, and watch God bring the increase. That's where I stand on that. It's not secret knowledge, and it's secret just because we won't go search for it. And other people have it and they won't share it, but they don't have to share it. It's available. It's in books. It's in the United States Code. How many people I'm asking a serious question though. How many people you know have sat and read the pages of the United States Code? I have. How many people do you know have sat and read the pages of the Uniform Commercial Code? I have. How many people do you know that have sat and read the pages of the IRS code or the Internal Revenue Code? I have. My father has. My brother has. Maybe not as many pages as I have. But we have. You got to be willing to do the work. Find out what's actually there. What does the law say? Everybody wants to talk about taxes. Taxes are involuntary. I make jokes on social media and stuff in my posts. But taxes are involuntary. They're voluntary, excuse me. All income taxes are voluntary. All income taxes are voluntary. Our American tax system is based on a voluntary system. Well, then how come people go to jail for it? Because they volunteer and then they don't do what they said they were going to do. That's what people get locked up for. So you tell the IRS, yeah, I owe you $1 million, and then you don't pay it. Guess what? They come and get you. It really is that simple. But when it comes to actually discovering or finding out what you owe or how to protect the money so you don't owe them anything, guess what? That money, your whole scenario becomes invisible if you know how to do it the right way. And again, I studied this stuff. I sat there, I read the books. So I'm not sharing anything that has not been done. This has been done for hundreds of years, especially here in America, even over in Europe. This stuff is not new. This stuff is not new. Stuff is not new. They had this banking cartels and this international banking and stuff that existed before America. We had the rich families, and people talk about Rothschilds and this and that. Yeah, there's a conspiracy theory side, but there's also truth that there are rich families, filthy, stinking, worldwide rich, who control this thing, who operate the banks, and who it's real. We just got to learn it. We got to learn what they know. It doesn't mean you have to act like they did. It doesn't mean you have to participate in the stuff that they do to learn the game. Because you know what I'm doing with the money that we have? You know where I'm giving away and putting that money into stuff that's helping other people, into housing projects, or not actually like projects, but housing. I'm putting up shelters and food pantries, and that's what we're going to be doing. You don't have to use the system just to be, materialistic and whatever else. You could be, but it wouldn't be, upright. So the choice is ultimately yours. The choice is yours. Nah, man. This stuff ain't new. Nothing new under the sun. This stuff is not new. So the choice is ultimately yours. It's ultimately your decision to decide whether or not you want to continue to believe the lies. Listen, I'm telling you, man, watching the news and listening to the media, all they do is promote their status quo. That's all they're doing. They're not trying to educate you on anything. They don't want to empower you on anything. They want you to stay exactly where you are. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you want. It is what it is. I'm just telling you what's happened in my life. I'm not worried about Trump and Biden. I'm not worried about I'm not. I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting my family. We're putting things in place. We're positioning ourselves to win, regardless to what's happening. So that way, if we're in position to win, we can help others win. And that's my main goal. That's what I'm focused on. So that's what we're here to do. And I'll be doing some more shows with the Wealth Transfer Academy. We're going to be talking about this stuff. Next show, I'll probably have some of this, the IRS code stuff to talk with you about. And the Uniform Commercial Code. Man, there's just so much stuff. There's stuff that governs international commerce, amnesty laws, and what they call what is it? Amnesty. It's maritime law, salvage law. All of these things exist. Like this has to do with stuff when there were ships, like merchants and stuff. Why do you think they're talking about like a merchant account? Where did that come from? When you do it, credit cards and banking, you have merchant accounts. What is a merchant? That has to do with the sea. So why do you have a merchant account and you're on land? People don't understand how these things overlap. That has to do with water. That has to do with boats and the docks where they made exchanges where someone would bring stuff on and they had to do all kind of stuff. That stuff is old. Thousands of years old. You have merchants in the Middle East back 2,000 years ago, where even a lot of the biblical stuff, those were actually merchant routes that the disciples and stuff, they were on. This is not new. This is old. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we got amnesty, we got maritime law, you got salvage law. This is why you like abandoned property. Yo, I'm telling you, man. Yo, I'll get into this stuff, but there's so much that we can talk about when it comes to like property laws and whatnot. Abandoned property. That's why I said possession is 9/10 of the law. Whoever's in possession is the owner, period. So if there's a property that has been abandoned, there's salvage law that allows a person to salvage what has been abandoned. Yeah, he was right. He said, put your money in the usury. Why? Because they can't come take it from you if it's somebody else is holding it. Oh, man. Listen, man, there's so much stuff we're going to get into, guys. This is going to be a fun ride. But yeah, we're going to be doing a workshop. I'm trying to set a date. The first step is credit, getting your credit right. If your credit is good, then there's another first step that you can take. But yeah, we're trying to do a workshop. We're probably going to do a workshop in about 2 weeks, around the 11th or something like that, the 12th, that Saturday. We'll see. Own nothing, control everything. Bro, I say it every time. I say it all the time, and nobody, it goes over people's head. It goes in one ear, out the other. What I'm telling y'all, man, I feel like crying. Like, the stuff I'm sharing, what I paid for it, I've made back. I can't even tell you how many times over. I can't even tell you how many times I've made it back. I mean, I've studied stuff, and now I'm helping my dad. He about to renovate this whole house, not using any of his own money. None of his own money. About to renovate the house. And then we're going to buy 2 properties with the money that we get from the whole deal. Like, it's crazy. It's about to go down. It's about to go down. And people can just sit back and watch. And then when everything happens, like, oh, can you show me? Can you help me? At that point, we'll see. I'm moving now. We're doing this stuff now. We have friends and family that we're hooking up right now. They're like, hey, my credit is good already. What can I do? Here's the next step. I got a guy who got projects into housing right now. Detroit. You can buy a house. It's basically a 5-year deal. You can buy a house, renovate it, everything. 50 grand. Yeah, man. The more of the game you know, the easier things get. Yeah, I got a partner right now. He's got houses in Detroit. Excuse me. They're selling the houses for like 30 grand, put 20,000 into them for a renovation. Guaranteed about $800 a month in revenue. So no sooner as you finance, get that house and you renovate it, you can take all that equity out and get your money back. Number one, get your money back, what you put into the house. And then that house pays you $700 to $800 a month for the next 5 years, and you'll make your money back again. You'll make that whole $50,000 in 5 years. After that 5 years, it's all profit. Like, the mortgage is paid off. You can remortgage it and get money out again. It's too easy, man. It don't have to. And again, people say, "Oh, I don't have $50,000." You don't need it. I'm showing people how to get the $50,000. You don't need it. You don't have to have $50,000 in the bank. There are places and people that you can go to that will say, "Oh yeah, I got too much debt. I need to give you some of it." Whatever. I think people listen. I hope people don't choose to stay blind. I hope people don't choose to stay in their bondage because they don't have to. There is a remedy. There's a way out. All they have to do is accept it. They have to accept it. Realize that, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a struggle. It's new information. I've never heard it like this before. That's okay. Accept, embrace something new, and let your life be blessed. Be blessed by it. That's all it's to it. Choice is yours. God bless you guys. I love you all. And And I'll see you in the next episode of Wealth Transfer Academy. I try to make this a little bit more structured just to give you some insights on some stuff because I really do want to help. Pique your interest, give you some tidbits and things that you can do right off the bat, right from the comfort of your own home. You ain't even got to go out and go nowhere. If you're afraid of COVID, you can do all this stuff right from your house. Got to go nowhere. All right. So God bless you guys. I love y'all. Have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed your turkey and your everything else. And don't spend too much money on this Black Friday unless you're going to sign up for my course, our class. Our class is only going to be $100. We dropped it. We were charging like $300 and change, $400. We're going to do $100 for this class, helping people get their credit straight. And then once you get your credit straight, we're going to help you turn that credit into more money. That's what we're doing. So if you don't want to do that, you want to start a business, we'll help you start your business as well and then help you set it up so that way you can get business credit. Like everything is about winning. That's what we're doing. We're doing that now ourselves. We're setting ourselves up for winning and we're helping others do the same. So God bless you. Have a wonderful day. And a great weekend. Talk to you all soon. Oh, yeah, I got to turn it off, right?